The galaxy was quiet, but only for a moment. Stars burned like jewels in the black, endless night. Planets drifted in silence, spinning alone, untouched. Every world had its owner, every star its master, and every race its fear. Among them, the Varkari ruled. Tall, sharp-eyed, and proud, they had built empires that spanned hundreds of systems. Their fleets burned through space like fire, conquering, enslaving, destroying. No one dared challenge the Varkari. No one, that is, except a few small, scattered whispers in the dark. Varkari Prime, their homeworld, had once been a shining fortress. Its cities gleamed with metal towers that scraped the clouds. Its fleets filled the skies like storms. But all that beauty could not stop betrayal. A neighboring system, one the Varkari had once thought loyal, turned. Ships appeared in the orbit of Varkari Prime without warning. Weapons fired, tearing through defenses like paper. Cities burned, families died. Even the strongest soldiers could not hold back the flood. The Varkari were shocked. They had never lost a world before. Pride became fear. Fear became desperation. Explosions shook the planet. Rivers boiled. The air smelled of metal and ash. Every scream and cry of the dying burned into the memory of those left alive. The Varkari tried to fight. They fought with everything they had, but numbers mattered. And the traitors had more than they expected. Varkari ships were ripped apart. Fortresses fell. And still, the attackers advanced. In the chaos, leaders whispered of humans. They exist, they said. A weak species, barely off their rock. Nothing to worry about. Humans were small, weak, insignificant. They had no fleets, no super weapons, no empire, nothing that could touch the Varkari. Yet, but some whispered uneasily. Humans survived when others would fall. Humans learned fast. Humans never gave up. Still, most Varkari ignored them. Back on Varkari Prime, the world burned. Families huddled in ruins. Soldiers cried over the bodies of friends. Even the proudest Varkari felt helpless. Their empire, their legacy, vanished in a night of fire and betrayal. In the darkness, the surviving leaders looked at the stars. They thought they could flee, but the galaxy was vast and enemies were everywhere. And somewhere, far away, a small, fragile planet orbited a yellow star. Humans lived there. The Varkari did not care. They would not think about them. Yet, but fate has a strange way of moving. As Varkari Prime fell, as pain and fear filled every corner, the first signs of something new appeared. A signal. Tiny, almost invisible. It flickered from the human world, reaching out across the void. No one understood it. No one paid attention. Except for a few who felt a chill in their bones. Something was coming. Something no one expected. And it would change everything. The Varkari had lost a world tonight. But they did not yet know that humans, small and weak, would be the spark that could turn the galaxy upside down. And in the distance, the first star of a new journey began to burn brighter. The human world was quiet. A pale blue planet spinning. Slowly in the void, oceans shimmered, forests swayed. Cities were small and fragile. No one in the galaxy thought it mattered. No one thought humans could survive in the chaos of the stars, but humans were different. They were soft in body, weak in technology, almost invisible in the cosmic scale. Yet inside, they carried something the galaxy had never measured. They carried stubbornness. They carried hope. They carried the fire of survival. On one small city, smoke rose from broken factories. Storms had torn through the coast. Families huddled in dark homes, hungry and afraid. The humans had lost much already. They had earthquakes, plagues, accidents, wars. They had survived all. And still, They did not give up. In space, satellites watched silently. Humans built slowly, carefully. No empire, no fleets, no weapons that could threaten the stars. Yet, but they built things that worked. They built machines that could last. They built ideas that could grow. A human scientist stared at a screen. Numbers moved faster than the eye could follow. Equations formed patterns that seemed impossible. He leaned back and rubbed his eyes. The planet around him trembled, yet he did not stop. He would not stop. Humans felt pain like nothing else. They knew fear, hunger, and loss. And somehow, that made them stronger. Every failure, every death, every heartbreak became fuel. They learned. They adapted. They remembered. They refused to surrender. Aliens watching humans would never understand this. They would see weak bodies, fragile worlds, and laugh. But humans were not just flesh. They were persistence. They were stubbornness carved into action. They were the quiet refusal to die quietly. Far away, Valkyrie fleets still raged. Their empire burned, their pride shattered. Humans did not know their name. Humans did not know their war. Humans did not care. Yet the first signals from human ingenuity had reached the void. Somewhere in the galaxy, a faint energy pulse flickered from Earth. It was small, almost meaningless. But it carried a message no alien could fully read. Humans would fight. Humans would endure. Humans would rise. And for the first time, the universe was about to notice. The storms on Earth worsened. Cities trembled. Machines failed. Humans lost and suffered. But they did not stop. They repaired, rebuilt, and adapted. Each small victory became a spark. Each failure became a lesson. The galaxy did not care about this tiny world. It laughed at its insignificance. It ignored the quiet sparks of human life. But in their suffering, humans were forging something invisible. A force that no weapon could measure, no fleet could destroy. A force that would one day make the universe tremble. And deep in orbit, a signal flickered again. Stronger this time. Unmistakable. It was a warning, though no one could understand it yet, a human signal. A quiet declaration that they were alive. That they would not surrender. And in the darkness, the first shadow of something terrible and unstoppable began to stir. The galaxy was not kind to the weak. Stars burned. Worlds collided. Fleets moved like storms. And humans, fragile and untested, had caught the attention of forces far beyond their understanding. The first fleet arrived quietly. Not massive, not loud, but enough to strike fear into any world unprepared. Ships larger than cities moved with precision, their weapons ready to erase everything. Humans saw them as dots in the sky at first. They were insignificant. Yet these dots carried destruction in every pulse of light. The humans fought with what they had. Small ships, crude weapons, scattered defenses. They were unprepared. Colonies burned. Farms were gone. Cities collapsed. Families fled or perished. The planet itself seemed to weep under the onslaught. Yet even in pain, humans survived. Even when skies were fire, oceans boiled, and homes fell apart, they refused to surrender. Engineers repaired broken machines in the dark. Pilots flew damaged ships, knowing they might never return. Soldiers and civilians alike endured beyond reason, clinging to life, clinging to hope. Aliens laughed. The fleet's commanders called the humans primitive, fragile, unworthy of attention. They expected surrender, begged secretly for it. But humans did not know surrender. Humans had suffered too much to give up now. Every attack brought more loss. Every failure burned pain into their bones. Yet humans learned faster than the aliens expected. They adapted. They used debris for cover, scavenged old ships for weapons, and turned every disaster into a lesson. Pain became strength. Fear became cunning. On one shattered colony, a team worked in silence. They built a device no alien could imagine. It hummed quietly, small, fragile, but alive. It was more than a machine. It was a promise. Aliens did not notice. They could not see the small spark forming on this weak planet. They saw humans as weak, doomed, irrelevant. But the humans had already started the first step toward survival. They would fight. They would endure. And they would strike back. The fleet's lasers tore through another city. Smoke rose, screams echoed, and the ground cracked under the force of war. The humans were suffering, but every loss was recorded, remembered, and used. They were weak, yes. Fragile, yes. But unstoppable in spirit. And then, at the edge of orbit, a flicker appeared. Something bright, sudden, unnatural. The humans had activated their first signal beyond their planet. No alien could guess its meaning. No one knew its purpose yet. It was a warning, a promise, a declaration. The galaxy thought it had already won. It thought humans were small, weak, and insignificant. It had no idea the war had only just begun, and somewhere, deep in the alien command, a voice whispered, unheard by anyone, "Perhaps we underestimated them." The aliens watched from orbit. They saw the humans struggling, dying, their cities in flames. They laughed. Weaklings, they thought. Primitive, fragile, insignificant. They had faced empires before. This species was no threat. The humans were small, their weapons crude. Their ships were tiny against the alien fleet. They had no armies that could fight on equal terms. No one in the galaxy would call them dangerous, but the humans were quiet. They did not panic. They did not beg. They did not surrender. On the ground, scientists, engineers, and soldiers moved like shadows. They scavenged ruined ships, repaired broken machines, and adapted old technology. Every failure became a lesson. Every death became a warning. Every loss built a spark. The aliens mocked these efforts. Even their strongest weapon is a child's toy, they said. They ignored the flickers of human ingenuity, thinking them meaningless. They had not learned yet that humans thrived in the impossible. On Earth, in a hidden facility, humans completed the first phase of their secret project. It was not large. It was not flashy. It hummed quietly, full of potential, alive with energy. No alien had noticed. No alien could have predicted it. Humans continued to adapt. They trained in conditions that would break most species. They endured pain that would shatter giants. They pushed beyond fear. They pushed beyond death. They were not invincible, but they were unstoppable in spirit. Aliens continued their assault. They destroyed colonies, burned cities, and killed thousands. The humans suffered, yes. They lost more than anyone could count. But each attack revealed human strength. Each strike showed cunning, determination, and creativity the aliens had never anticipated, and humans were learning faster than the galaxy could imagine. Every disaster became a lesson. Every failure built a new solution. Every death forged a deeper will to survive. The aliens still laughed. They still underestimated the humans. They believed victory was near. They had no idea that this species, so small, so weak, was already preparing to fight back. A human engineer activated the Star Eater's prototype systems. The machine hummed quietly, feeding on energy, growing unseen. It was small and visible to alien scanners, but it held the power to change everything. And then, in the darkness, a small human fleet struck back for the first time. Not with explosions or firepower. Not with weapons the aliens could measure. With tactics, cunning, and unpredictability. They survived attacks that should have destroyed them. They adapted instantly. The aliens paused. They had never seen this before. A species so weak, yet so fearless, so clever, and so stubborn. But they still smiled. They still thought it would not matter. They still did not understand, and far away, in the shadows of space, the Star Eater waited, quiet, patient, growing, a weapon no one had predicted, a force that would turn the galaxy upside down. The aliens did not know it yet. They had underestimated humanity, and the universe was about to learn a very painful lesson. The aliens floated in orbit, their massive ships casting shadows over the blue planet below. They looked down on humans with amusement. Weak, small, fragile, insignificant. No fleet, no empire, no power worth noticing. They were toys to be broken, experiments to be ignored. Humans were suffering. Cities smoldered. Farms were burned. Ships lay in ruins. The screams and cries of their world reached the alien sensors, but the aliens only laughed. Give them a few weeks. They will beg, the commanders said. They had never faced a species like this, yet they thought it easy to destroy. But humans did not beg. They did not collapse. They did not surrender. On the ground, engineers worked tirelessly in ruined factories. Soldiers patched broken ships with scrap. Scientists studied alien technology, copying, improving, and experimenting with what they could understand. Every disaster became a lesson. Every failure became a plan. Every loss sharpened their resolve. The aliens still mocked them. If they survive a month, what can they do? Nothing, they said. They could not see the quiet fire growing in human hearts. They could not feel the stubbornness burning in every human mind. They did not notice that humans had already begun building something the galaxy had never seen. In a hidden facility, humans activated the first systems of the Star Eater prototype. It was small, unassuming, and invisible to alien sensors. It hummed quietly, absorbing energy, preparing itself. No alien ship, no weapon, no scanner could detect its presence. It was humanity's secret, a force growing in silence. Every human on the planet knew the pain of loss. Families destroyed, cities razed, friends gone. And yet, each loss strengthened them. Fear became focus, pain became fuel. Humans were fragile, yes, but they were unstoppable in spirit. The alien fleet continued its attacks, expecting surrender. They fired on cities, destroyed fleets, and crushed colonies. The humans suffered, yes. The cost was high, but every strike taught them something. They adapted instantly. They survived in ways the aliens could not predict. A human commander led a small strike against a fleet vessel. They had almost nothing. Ships patched together from scraps, weapons barely functional. And yet, through courage, cunning, and sheer stubbornness, they survived. They struck where aliens least expected, vanished where they should have been destroyed. Every success was a spark. Every spark became a warning the aliens could not read. The aliens continued to underestimate them. They laughed. They mocked. They ignored the signals of human ingenuity. They did not yet know the quiet storm forming on this blue planet. They could not sense the Star Eater awakening. They could not predict the reckoning that was coming. In the shadows of orbit, the Star Eater waited, silent, patient, growing. A weapon beyond imagination, fueled not just by energy, but by human determination. It would change the galaxy. It would shatter pride. It would make the universe remember humanity. And for now, the aliens thought the war was theirs. They thought humans were weak. They thought they had won, but one flicker of energy, one signal from the humans, passed unnoticed. It was a quiet pulse, almost meaningless. Yet it carried a promise no alien could read. humans would survive. Humans would adapt. Humans would strike back. And the universe, unaware, was about to learn the first truth about humanity. They never surrendered. The galaxy watched, still unaware. Humans, small and fragile, had endured years of destruction. Cities burned. Fleets destroyed. Lives lost. Yet they did not surrender. They had survived the impossible. In a hidden orbital station above Earth, the Star Eater hummed. Silent, immense in potential, and far beyond alien imagination, it waited for the humans to make the first move. And now, the moment had come. The alien fleet had gathered over the planet, confident. They had crushed every human defense. They believed victory was near. They laughed at the tiny specks below, so weak, so insignificant. But humans had learned. Every loss had been recorded, every attack studied, every weakness had been turned into strength. They had adapted. They had survived. They had become unstoppable. The first Star Eater pulse ignited. A wave of energy erupted from the station, stretching across the void. Stars themselves trembled. Light bent unnaturally. Alien sensors failed. Ships exploded before they could react. Fleet panicked. Their weapons could not touch it. Their shields could not withstand it. Their pride was crushed under the weight of human ingenuity. Humans had turned desperation into power, suffering into strength, weakness into domination. Humans struck again. Tactics no alien could predict. Fleets torn apart by precision and cunning. Planets evacuated, decoys created, traps set. Every move was human. Every strike carried emotion, fear, pain, and the stubborn refusal to die quietly. The aliens realized, too late, they had underestimated humans. They had mocked them. They had ignored them. Now, humanity ruled the battlefield not with numbers, not with size, not with raw technology, but with willpower. The Star Eater consumed an entire star, creating a shockwave that shattered the enemy's core fleet. Ships disintegrated. Entire command centers were vaporized. The galaxy's most feared species had fallen to a species they thought weak, a species they had ignored. But humans did not celebrate. They were not cruel. They were precise. Every move was calculated. Every strike measured. They fought not for glory, but for survival. Every human on Earth, on colonies, on fleets, knew the stakes. Every life lost had forged a resolve too strong to break. The alien commanders fled. They sent messages of surrender, apologies, offers of peace. Humans had rewritten the rules of the galaxy. They had proven that physical strength alone was meaningless. Emotional resilience, stubbornness, and the refusal to surrender were stronger than any weapon. And still, the Star Eater pulsed, silent, waiting, powerful. It had not yet revealed its full potential. It was a warning to the galaxy. Underestimate. Humans at your own peril. From the ashes of their suffering, humanity rose. Pain had become power. Loss had become strategy. Fear had become determination. And somewhere, far in the depths of space, an alien voice whispered, trembling with disbelief. They were not supposed to survive. The humans had not just survived, they had dominated. They had shocked the galaxy. And they were only beginning. The universe had demanded surrender. Humanity had refused. And humanity had unleashed a force that would never be forgotten. The stars were quiet again. But the silence was different this time. It was not peace. It was awe. It was fear. The alien fleets that had laughed, that had mocked, that had believed humanity weak, were gone or shattered. Their leaders fled to the farthest corners of the galaxy, whispering of a species they had underestimated. A species small, fragile, and human. On Earth, Humans did not celebrate with triumph. They mourned. They counted losses, rebuilt what they could, and cared for the survivors. Their victory had been hard, painful, and earned through suffering. And yet, a spark of pride burned in their hearts. The Star Eater remained, silent, patient, and ready. A symbol of human resilience and determination. No alien weapon could match it. No fleet could challenge it. It was not just technology. It was humanity itself, forged from loss, pain, and refusal to surrender. Galaxy began to notice. Reports trickled in from distant systems. Stories of a human species that could endure anything, survive anything, and strike back against the impossible. Whispers spread that humans were no longer a minor species. They were a force to be reckoned with.